皆さんこんにちは、シャンテルです。今回の動画では私の勉強を紹介していきたいと思います。So in this video, I'm going to share with you what apps I use to study Japanese. I'm still very beginner level, but I am trying to learn how to speak Japanese. It's really tough, but I'm enjoying the process. And I want to share with you some of the apps that I have learned and used to learn some of the Japanese alphabet and also some of the kanji as well. And some of the apps that I've been using to learn how to speak as well. So that is going to be quite exciting to share with you today, and hopefully you'll be able to find some use out of it and be able to learn from it. I'm someone who I consider is really difficult to learn a language. I've never learned a new language before, but Japanese has always stood out to me, and it's been one of those things that I've always wanted to learn. So I thought, why not try? And during lockdown, I decided to sit down and dedicate some time to start learning Japanese. And as some of you may know or may not know, I have a Japanese boyfriend as well, so it really helps having a native speaker to be able to correct my pronunciation as well when I'm trying to speak Japanese. So let's get on to the apps. So one of the apps I'm going to talk about is Janki. This app is really interesting because you can practice writing different kanjis and you can learn kanji characters on there. And you can also learn different sentences. They also have the JLPT levels, so you can study by what level you are at. So it starts from 5 all the way up to number 1, which is the highest level. They also have a dictionary, which I find incredibly useful because not only you can search by typing things in, if you've seen a kanji character and you really don't know how to spell it, you can draw it in. You can also do a voice search, so you can speak it if you've heard the word but you don't know how to write it. An app that I would recommend for absolute beginners learning your hiragana and your katakana. If you are an absolute beginner, I recommend using Duolingo. They are really good and fun, and you can just start learning all your characters and little sentences and a little bit of grammar through Duolingo. And I think that is really helpful because when you're trying to memorize all of the different characters, it helps to have an app that reinforces the characters in your brain over and over again. And it's kind of gamified, so it makes you want to play longer and longer. And I love that it's absolutely free. So unless you want to get rid of the adverts or have more levels and more hearts, then you really don't need to use the paid version. So the next 3 apps I'm going to talk about together because I think they're made by the same company, but they have slightly different purposes, and they all work in a very similar way, but they're slightly different. So the first one I'm going to talk about is Easy Japanese. Then there's Japanese Voice, which is my favorite. And then there is pipop. So these are the 3. So let me talk about Easy Japanese. So Easy Japanese is a really great place where you can start learning how to read in Japanese, completely in Japanese, and it has a read along function, so you can look at the article and the voice reads along, and you can tap on the words and find out the definition of each individual word, and you can look at the grammar points of the sentence that you've just listened to. So that's incredibly helpful. They have articles based from easy, and then they have difficult articles. I still find it quite a little bit difficult for me because I am still a beginner, but I have been reading using this app a lot. They also have, again, levels based by JLPT, which is N5 up to N1. There's also a dictionary installed in here. I actually haven't used the dictionary function on this one as much because I use it more on the previous app that I talked about first. And they also have videos that you can go through and read along and see the translations. And for each word you can look into the definition, you can save it, and those can be saved to a flashcard which you can quiz yourself on the meanings of later on, which is really, really good. They also have a podcast, but I don't really use that at the moment because I'm not that advanced. But if you become more advanced, you might be able to start understanding Japanese as a podcast. Then Japanese Voice is another app. It's free, but you can pay for the upgrade. So you have access to 2 pieces of new content every single day. And that means that you can go through the video and watch it step by step. And when you go through the video watching it step by step, again, you can click onto the words and create flashcards for the words. You can also have a look at them and see what the actual meaning is and compare it to the English translation to see what the Japanese version is and how the sentence is formatted and compared to the English one, which I find really helpful because the sentence structure is very different in Japanese from it is in English. And then another really nice feature is that you can record your voice. So you can start doing shadowing and start repeating the sentences over and over again. You can put it on a loop and keep recording the sentence over and over again until you get it just right, like the native speaker. So that's really, really helpful. I find that the free version is just enough to have 2 pieces of content because for me, it usually takes me around half an hour to an hour to get through a whole piece of content. And the content is just, it's like a small little story or a small little snippet. And I like to read it through, then learn all of the vocabulary, and then I like to save it as flashcards, then I go through it again, and then repeat it and record my voice over and over again so that I can try and get some of that pronunciation better. I'm still learning, it's not perfect, but I think that's really helpful if you are like beginner or even medium or intermediate because they have different levels. So you can filter the videos by beginner, medium and advanced level, which is really nice. In the beginner videos, they include a lot of vocabulary that is found in N5 and N4. And then in medium, it goes to N3, N2 and so on and so on. So yeah, that's how it works. And pipop is the same kind of jazz, but it's more to do with Japanese pop, Japanese music, rock music as well, which is all in Japanese. So if you want to learn how to sing some of the songs, or if you learn better through song, because I know a lot of people do love to learn better through song and it's more enjoyable for them. So you can do the exact same thing that you can do with Japanese Voice, but it's just music only for the pipop. And that's really fun, so you can start singing along in your favorite Japanese songs and learn the meaning behind the lyrics, which is extremely fun because then you can start seeing some certain words that keep showing up, and those words will go into your memory more easily because songs are really catchy and they're really fun, so it's really easy to start remembering those words. So you can get 2 free songs to practice every single day, and that resets every single day. So if you wanted to study more than 2 songs a day, you could upgrade. And I think it's something really affordable, like £7 a month or something, so it's not too expensive. But me personally, using these free apps, that means that I have access to 6 Japanese pieces of content, and I find that that is enough for me to study in a day, and I really don't feel that I need to upgrade and use the premium versions. Of course, you can be ad-free with the premium versions as well, but these are perfectly all fine using free. And if you want to learn a language, it's just really good to be able to use free resources. And then my last tip is just to speak with Japanese speakers. There's a lot of different apps like Hello Talk. Mostly I haven't used them that much. I've been speaking with my boyfriend mostly in Japanese, and that's been really helpful. So if you can make any Japanese friends or know anyone who's Japanese, that's great to check your pronunciation, because it's all great learning it on the apps, but you might be pronouncing it completely wrong. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, leave a thumbs up and let me know in the comments, have you ever studied Japanese, or are you studying Japanese right now? and how far are you? Are you getting along with it really well? Sometimes I find it really hard to keep studying and keep motivation, but I need to know. But these apps help me to remember that daily study and being really consistent really helps. So even if I just do 15 minutes a day, a little bit helps to create that daily practice, and I think that's the most important thing. Mata ne!